Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Aches and Gainz with Doc and Donnie. My name is Dr. Hayes Estes. I'm a doctor of physical therapy and the owner of Premier Physical Therapy here in Clearwater. Donnie, hello.
Hi, I'm bored already. Are you smiling behind that mask? I hope not.
It's all in the eyes.
Hi, this sucks. Just like that mask. No, just go, talk.
No one cared who I was until I put on the mask. I am Bane.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, let's do this.
back?
Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Aches and Gainz.
Oh.
I'm Dr. Hayes Estes,
I can't even
Doctor of
pretend.
Physical Therapy, owner of Physical Therapy, Donnie!
Thank you. Is that for real this time? Thank you.
The whole thing's for
we
real,
sounded like
Donnie.
the church ladies on Saturday Night
The
Live.
whole thing is for real. We have started. We're rolling.
Oh.
Actually, do not edit that out.
All
Donnie,
right.
what are you? Who are you?
Hi, I'm here. I'm Donnie. I'm a coach. I
Got him.
I have nothing to say here. This was so bad. Obviously, you can see that was not scripted, and I don't know how to handle this. So go ahead. You do your thing.
All right, we also have Justin Price back for another episode. Justin is my buddy. Since we know each other since we were 6. He's up in Charleston, South Carolina, owner of Aspire Fitness and Wellness. And I gave all his credentials last episode.
You got to watch the last episode to get the good stuff.
So we are here today. I'm just going to get right into the subject since Donnie's just pissed right now. We're going to talk about the elevation training masks and their efficacy.
Yes.
Efficacy.
No, apparently it's efficiency according to.
Could be that.
Fine, I don't
No,
care.
It's not.
No.
It's not.
Yeah.
People just don't know words.
Reading is nice.
So Donnie, why don't you lift with a mask every single day? Why don't you just walking around with your elevation mask every single day?
Because I enjoy raw dogging this air stuff. So yeah,
Easy.
I enjoy,
Easy.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, take me out to dinner first.
Yeah, welcome.
It's a little-
Welcome.
I mean,
Welcome to my life.
I think the air feels a
All
little
right.
violated right
And
now.
our producer
Donnie,
Ashley.
all right, I'm gonna before you dig yourself into a deeper hole.
No.
Donnie,
Whoa.
have you ever had a client of yours come up to you and say, "Hey man, I've heard about this elevation mask. I think I should try it."
I have had one or two people who've been inquisitive on the elevation mask and its function. And I had to, I honestly, as much as I react here on this is all in jest, but I do try to not laugh when people ask me questions that are dumb, because I don't want them to feel like they're dumb. The question's dumb, they're not dumb. So, see, and this is where I'm the good guy. Yeah, yeah. All
Just
right.
not to the air.
There's no dumb questions, just dumb people, right? Is that the deal?
Yes.
All right, okay.
Yes.
Well, no, and I do explain how restricting oxygen intake is not the same as thin air.
Yeah.
And that's the basic example I want to give them, because that's the most primal thing you can say here. It's not the same. Restricting your intake of oxygen.
So you mean
is not
choking
the,
them?
Yeah,
is
not
the
choking
same
them is not the same
as being at altitude.
Yes.
So we're done with this episode?
Yeah, there you go. Done. That's it.
I mean,
that's pretty much
do
the
we
basis
have
of
to
the whole argument.
Do we have to get any more scientifical than that?
I did the research.
Oh, never mind. We'll let you do this
Okay.
just because you did the research.
All right. Well, so all right. I know you want to just like let loose on this. So let me preface this. Why do people think that the elevation, the training mask is going to be beneficial? Well, the thought is that you can somehow simulate training at altitude and alter your breathing without actually having to go and fly out and live in Colorado for 6 months out of the year. Mm-hmm. So with that said, Donnie, I'm going to sit back and let you just open up a can of whoop-ass.
No, I mean, come on, guys. And actually, I want to hand it over to Justin here, because we had said you had actually climbed a mountain and you've done this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was interesting,
You can, and I actually want to, before I go on our
Before you go
rant or
ham
that,
on
I
it.
want to actually listen to you and give your firsthand experience.
I don't think
of-
Doc wants that yet.
Well, no, I do.
Oh.
But no.
He's got a plan,
You'll do it. I
apparently.
do. I don't. Hey,
I did the
somebody's
research.
got to rein this in, okay? All right. Before you do that, I want to
Oh,
hear
yeah.
that too.
Oh, all right.
Well, but from the both of you, why is altitude training good? What does it do?
Why is altitude training good?
Yeah.
Why would you even?
Why would you want to even
Okay,
think about?
so you're in
doing this?
Florida and you're going, man. Hey, I'd love to get the benefits of a high altitude
Okay.
training. What does that even mean? What
Okay,
do
So
that.
most people know about your VO2 max and your ability to distribute oxygen throughout your body. So if you can train your body to be optimal at a limited amount of oxygen, in theory, when you're saturated with oxygen in lower altitudes, you should be able to train at the same, if not higher, mentality with the same output of energy.
Right.
So that's the theory of it.
Great theory.
Well,
Great theory.
It's a great theory, and it works when you're dealing with organic training, when you're dealing with organic altitudes and this kind of stuff.
Sure.
It does. That's why the Olympic training is in Colorado and at altitude, versus sitting in Tampa Bay, Florida, at like 2 degrees or 2 feet above sea level.
The weird thing is
So-
that it has even that is like has its own limitation. So like if you live high and train high, you
Acclimated
can't
to it.
well and
420 was a couple days ago.
yeah, that was a
Yeah.
while ago. I mean that will also not increase your
It
VO2
won't?
max.
Oh.
Found that out,
Maybe
huh?
your,
Yeah.
maybe your tidal volume. Like
of-
so.
Where'd you learn that, Cheech?
Yeah. So, but the funny thing is, for endurance athletes who do it all the time, they live high, train high. They think it's this great thing because then obviously make more red blood cells because they're low on oxygen because they get poor amount of gas exchange and all that stuff. So, but the best thing is really to live high and train low because they would have reduced power output because you still, if you live at 8,000 feet or 10,000 like in Leadville, Colorado or something like that, you will adapt to that, but you still can't work as hard. So at a certain point in training intensity is reduced
Yeah.
because you're at high
Yeah.
altitude. Now, if you train at low and live low and then try to live high or
Yeah,
do
that's
anything
bad.
high was
Yeah.
what I was getting ready for when I did something is I had to live low. We'll talk about that. But in train low, there is no question that there's advantages to being adapted to altitude if you're going to have to work there. But if you're the normal person who's just like, hey, I'm Flatlander, I just kind of want to be able to have higher performance because I don't know why you'd care to put on a training mask or any of these things.
There's got to be 100 different things you
I
can
don't-
adjust that
I don't-
that are more beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the way down the list of things to do, and I'll explain why, because what I had to do really kind of sucked anyway, and it works, but it sucks more than the training mask, so anyway,
All right.
Yeah,
So
that's-
we've
that's-
established that altitude training is a thing.
it's real.
It's
called red blood cells. They're real.
Yes,
the more of them
red-
that you
red-
have, I mean, Lance Armstrong can attest to this. If you take EPO, like, things are pretty cool. You
Yeah,
can go
it's
longer.
crazy how- yeah.
Yeah, it works.
Or
so,
if you have just a naturally gifted VO2 max, such as Michael Phelps and these kind of guys that
Yeah.
could process it, okay, yeah, you have an advantage.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. But choking yourself,
choking
to
yourself
try to get that advantage.
does not create a release of EPO.
All right. So
You don't make more red blood
Simple.
cells.
so do you want to do research? Or do you want to talk? Do you want to have Justin talk
Hey,
about?
you got the plan,
Yeah.
homie. All right.
All right. So here it is. There is the Journal of Experimental Physiology. Again, one of Donnie's favorites. 2016. Does altitude training increase exercise performance in elite athletes? Which clearly we all are.
Tip-top shape.
What they looked at was sprints interval training. They had one group in a hypoxic, hypoxic, wearing the mask.
Yep.
And the other group was,
Hypoxic.
as Donnie likes to say, raw dog in that air.
Raw dogging it. Hard.
So what they found was basically that altitude training does not convincingly improve exercise performance, which you kind of touched on before.
Acutely, anyway.
Yes. Sorry. there
It
you go.
should make it worse acutely.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Like
But here's-
instantly worse. I don't know if anybody's run around at altitude, but it makes
So
it worse.
the point of the study was they called this hypoxic training, even though it wasn't truly hypoxic training. They called it altitude hypoxic training.
Was it? Did they put hypoxic generators
That's
on?
no.
they just gave
they
them
had-
masks.
Put a
they had-
mask.
they
They
had
called
the
it
There are
masks,
things that
but
do
they
that,
called it hypoxic training.
It should have been restrictive
Should
air
be
training.
restrictive airflow
exactly. So
training,
it's a
yeah.
misnomer.
the same thing,
It's a
yeah.
misnomer in the study. So it's misleading because people go, oh well, look at this, it's okay. Yeah. So basically, what the conclusion, regardless, was that that it should not be recommended to elite athletes unless, here's the best part. Man, this is my favorite part. Unless there is a firm belief held by the athlete.
The
that
placebo?
That,
The
yes, that
placebo
the mask
effect.
is actually doing something.
Wow,
The
welcome to
effect
the last
side.
year
So
of our
you
life.
can't refute that the placebo had a higher effect size than the training.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, for sure.
They're like, I could just give you magnesium pills and tell them that you're
Yeah.
steroids,
Yes.
and you're like,
Boom,
boom,
I'm getting
amazing.
bigger, I'm stronger.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Awesome.
they actually specifically state in the article
Which
that
shows
the
you how
placebo,
small the effect size of the training
yes,
mask was.
Yeah, the placebo effects of wearing the mask actually might be worth it. So,
Wow.
all right. So with that said,
Thank you for enlightening us all with that tidbit of knowledge.
Yeah.
So I can go to the
We're all
grocery
now
store. Well,
dumb.
not anymore, but you used to be able to get plastic bags in the grocery store and put it over your head and just suck into
That's it.
that.
I didn't do the study.
I
I didn't
did
do
it.
the study. I'm
No.
just.
You just did the research.
I just did the
There's
research.
somebody with a doctor before their name that did that. You know.
And it took a while. By
Yeah,
the way. I mean,
yeah.
They had to
Yeah.
publish that study.
Yeah, they
It's
had to
not the
publish
easiest
it.
thing
Somebody
to do.
paid for that crap. Yeah.
Peer-reviewed, all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So
Wow.
with that, I mean, I got more, but that was my
I
favorite.
could go all
That
day.
was my favorite. So with that said, Justin,
Yeah.
you climbed Mount Kilimanjaro about a
Yep.
year and a half ago. Tell us about living in Charleston, South Carolina.
Right.
Tell us about how long and how often you wore your elevation
And
mask.
tell us how many times you listened to the Toto song after.
Oh, it was on repeat. That's just
Well,
that's the train. There was like a training.
That had
Yeah.
more of a placebo effect than
100%.
mask.
It was every hour of training that was just on repeat.
Perfect.
It was just one
That's
song.
what I
and
want.
just
That's really-
constantly.
We can shut it down now. That's all I
Yeah,
want to
that's
hear.
done. I mean, that's better than any training mask. So, no, I tried to see and do some research of my own and had some experience of living out in Colorado and stuff about what it felt like to be in a high altitude kind of situation and train and go back and forth and all that kind of stuff. And so it's like, what's going to actually work? So you can get in your best shape, which I was doing anyway, was training in all the regular ways you would regardless of where you were living. But the problem is to get some of those red blood cells and some adaptation, the only thing that I had access to that was going to work at all was to buy a very expensive nitrogenator, like which you basically sleep in a plastic tent in your bed and have to accumulate at least 8 hours a night in a false high altitude situation. But it's really not altitude change, it's a hypoxic. It actually is hypoxic. And I could put on a pulse oximeter and watch my O2 go down into the 80s. Just like 88 and like breathing in it.
No big deal there.
No big deal. You're fine.
Let me make sure I actually fall asleep.
Yeah, you sleep great like that, right?
Yeah.
If you wake up, you wake up.
Yeah. And yeah, and the headache you get. So that actually works, but nobody wants to do that. So, but I would suggest if you really are hardcore and you were going to go somewhere that it mattered if you had performance or not, you can
Like
rent
climbing a
them.
mountain.
You can
Yeah.
rent one. Yeah, I mean because it's it's slightly
A
high.
little bit of a deal.
It's slightly high. You feel like but anyway, I thought it was effective in creating some change. There's other weird little things I learned along the way, like if you get in a hot enough sauna, you'll produce a little bit of EPO.
Yeah.
And there's also some stuff you can do, like from this book called Oxygen Advantage, where you work on CO2 tolerance, which is a little bit different, but they basically try to teach you how to exercise with breath holds. And so you're getting less oxygen. So if
Okay.
we notice, you have to get less
Doing like
oxygen.
is that even like some sort of a mini Valsalva maneuver?
No,
Like
you
coming
actually
under with the restriction?
breathe.
It's worse.
It's
It's actually
worse.
worse.
It's way worse. So we can do your Bolt score right now, which is like if you just breathe in, breathe out, and see how long you can hold your breath with your air all the way out, not in. Most people will get like 10 seconds or something like that.
Before
And
they start to.
before you're like, I have to have air hunger, I have to
Or-
breathe. Yeah, and so if you can get it up to like 40, which I was able to get mine into like 30. It was 10 when I started to get into like 30. Well, it was helpful, but no mask.
I was gonna
No-
say,
no restriction.
Weirdly,
All
had-
sounds like
And so I have this very expensive nitrogenating like machine that can make it hypoxic. They even offer a mask that you can use to acutely exercise. That I was like, there's absolutely no reason for me to do that because it only makes my exercise performance worse, which makes the training stimulus
Worse.
lower,
Weird.
which makes the adaptation
Weird.
less, which defeats the point of
There's
training.
science.
It's imagine.
It's
that.
almost like you scheduled that.
Yeah. So I mean, listen,
Move
that's
on,
essentially what every single article comes down to is that you perform worse.
You do
with
worse.
wearing these stupid masks.
Yeah.
So,
But
but
do you talk about how cool you look
You
while
look-
doing it?
you look
Is there
special.
Is there like
You
an
didn't-
improvement on how easy it is to get laid with one of them on? Or what are you talking here?
that study's coming out
Okay.
next year.
Okay,
Next year,
got it.
I'm working on it. Trying to get funding.
Well, you got
for
plenty
That's
of
a-
people wearing masks
The
now.
Dr.
so that's
FC's
all the,
N of 1 exercise.
it. Well, I'm married, and so no. Yeah. Anyway, Donnie.
Hi.
See, it's been about 15 minutes in here.
Time for you to chime
It's time
in
for you
on
to
your
just
feelings about these masks.
tee off, my man.
No, you know what's funny about it is how I am in life is the more rational I get, the less irrational, or more rational around me, the less irrational I get. So when this started off with all that irrationality, I was hyped up. But then you start talking rational stuff, and I'm like, all right, cool.
Way too reasonable.
Yeah, this
Should I-
is
so
reasonable
should I put the mask
stuff
back
here.
on?
No,
Yeah.
please don't. God, I hope you broke it. All right. No, but you're absolutely right. I mean, I understand why people buy these things, and I understand why people do it. Marketing.
Yeah.
I understand it. Marketing, people want to sell you something, and they sell you on how you're going to be better, but they don't give you any real evidence behind it. They just tell you you are, and unfortunately, people look at companies that in this as a subject matter expert, and they say, okay, well, if they said it's going to help me, I'll
Well,
buy it.
and there's an experience. So there's the placebo strong, because if I put on a mask and do like a metabolic, like high intensity interval workout, it's probably going to feel a lot worse, right?
Yeah.
So
but
it
that doesn't
feels
mean-
worse.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't mean-
It's not about facts. It's about feelings.
All right, well, we're
So
back on feelings?
it's
All right.
not about facts.
I feel like I'm
It's about
wrecked,
feelings.
so therefore it's good.
Yes.
Okay.
So I feel worse, which means I'm definitely getting in better shape.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. So that
what-
means
what-
my knees
what is
are in
the-
fantastic shape.
Yes.
right now.
Yeah.
Well, what is the most like bought supplement ever is every pre-workout known to man. So it's like, yes, there are lots of studies of some actual increases
Wait,
in
are
performance.
you about to tell me that I can't take my
No.
explode
I'm
anymore?
just saying. Oh wow, going way old
No
school on that.
explode,
Nice.
wow.
No explode.
Wow.
Yeah, just make sure you're near the restroom. Everyone knows.
30 seconds.
Yes,
Tops.
tops. So yeah, like you feel like you're training harder, and sometimes you are with that. That works a little bit, so you see some gains too. But the training mask feeds off of that marketing, which is like it's about how you feel when you do it. You're
Not
like,
how
I'm
actual
dying.
results.
No,
Not
because
results.
let's be honest. How many of these people
Care.
either they do care actually? Sadly, how many of these people are even willing to have like a training log, let alone to measure anything?
Oh, the consumers.
So you're not.
I thought you were talking about the marketers.
Yeah, the marketers don't care at
The
all.
consumers
Right.
care.
And I
of
feel
course.
bad for the consumer because the consumer isn't going to take like a scientific approach and go like, well, do I end up going faster a month later? They don't really measure it enough or take any kind of
They're
data
just
down.
looking for the next best thing. To
So
help
feelings
them.
matter more because I did that workout. It felt harder, which is one of my favorite things about coaching and training people is like it's all about your experience, regardless of the outcome for most people. Until they have a good outcome, they go, "Oh, I get it. Like if I did that for long enough, I'm gonna have performance." So most people haven't actually experienced good
if
training
you
for
do it-
long enough to understand delayed transformation.
Yeah, and if you do it the other way, you end up with rhabdo. So
Yeah, I mean, it's an
so-
experience.
yeah,
Coca-Cola.
It's a win-win.
Rhabdo.
It's a win-win.
It's
Two
a
weeks
win-win.
in the hospital, get
Yeah.
some IV. It's good stuff. Yeah.
Rhabdo is good.
All right. Well, I'm gonna interject here. I'm gonna vomit some more information at you guys.
Perfect.
The effect of wearing the so this was 2016 Journal of Sports Science and Medicine. The effect of wearing the elevation training mask on aerobic capacity, lung function, and hepatological variables.
Yes.
Donnie, I know you were up in there.
Arg,
So
arg.
already, only 25 participants in the study, so not a huge sample size. What they did was 6 weeks, 2 times a week, 30 minutes, high intensity cycling. Both groups, the mask group and the control group, showed an improvement in their VO2 max.
Crazy.
Weird. Huh?
Exercise did that, huh?
Exercise works. The mass group had a marginal but not statistically significant or relevant improvements in all the other functions of lung capacity. But really, basically what happened was that we're just training the respiratory muscles. But some people are like, well, isn't that good? Well,
Let's hear about that.
Exactly.
'Cause that
So
would
yet
make
another,
sense
yet
topically.
another research article looking at that specifically is that the evidence is inconclusive on whether improving respiratory muscle function will actually improve exercise performance. So there's really no
You get
evidence.
some really jacked lungs.
You get some really jacked lungs and a diaphragm. Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. So also there was.
I love when my omohyoid is jacked.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
the
Wow.
apex of my lung comes up
Can you
so
figure out how to
high.
flex that? Let me know.
Yeah.
Cool.
Increase in Untitled CO2 for the mass group. So it basically means they
Yeah, that
have
makes
trouble hyperventilating. They have a low respiratory rate. They have trouble hyperventilating. There was some theory that may help improve performance in the elite athlete, but I look at it as then you might need to be able to hyperventilate if you need to recover from an acute bout of exercise.
Yeah.
maybe. Who
It's
knows?
Yeah, we are-
usually unnecessary to actively hyperventilate.
Yeah.
I don't usually go, all right, let's do this unless I'm gonna maybe I'm gonna hold my breath for longer and
Yeah.
cheat the system a little
You
bit.
can go back to our breathing episode we did with Wim Hof methods and these kind of things where
Sure.
we're
Yeah,
exposing ourselves, but at any point you can take yourself out of the scenario, so it keeps you from hyperventilating instead of forcing you to
Yeah.
hyperventilate.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So basically, at the end of the day, with all the studies, what they've shown at best that they may have some effect on basically function of the respiratory muscles. Either group improved VO2 max, which is really the only variable that matters in all of this. Both groups improved VO2 max, and there was no difference between the mask group and the control group.
One just had a little bit more pleasant time
Yeah.
than the other one.
Exactly. So, but the main point was that the mask, once again, did not simulate altitude.
No.
Yeah.
No. And the thing that's tricky as a consumer is that even if you've been at altitude, you feel out of breath. And so if I'm trying to breathe through a straw, I feel out of breath. And so I think that's the most
I
basic
see.
basis of this is that it seems like it should work because I feel
Similar
like it's
feeling.
sort of similar during the activity, but it's different mechanisms, so it
The body
doesn't
responds
So,
differently.
so you're only working on your nervous system?
pretty much. Yeah,
Weird.
you're not
What-
having any metabolic changes. No
does the
hematological
what
changes
is,
either.
what is placebo effect again?
Yeah, exactly that.
Oh,
Strong
okay.
nervous system effect.
Okay, weird. Man, I like how I came full circle.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, Donnie, I mean, we got a couple minutes before
Yeah,
we
let's
go
do it.
to our favorite segment. Do
Oh,
you,
we're there.
Do you want to just like rip off? or
No,
something?
no. That's everybody. Hey, remove your mask and train. Raw dog that air. All right. Improve your training capacity
Pretty deeply.
by
Just
training harder.
Get
And,
up in
train
there.
harder.
Get up in there.
Train harder.
Now, on a total
You know,
side note, if a deviated septum, go get that fixed because that's worse
I've,
than the
I've
mask.
actually had mine done.
There
It
you
was
go. So
night and day.
night and day.
Absolutely.
So for performance and rehabilitation and recovery and everything, if you can't nasal breathe, I'd be a little more worried about that than if you have your training mask.
Gotcha. All right.
So-
No,
I mean-
can I get that for $30 at Walmart?
Unfortunately, no. The ENT likes his money, so
But if, but
giving you two
listen,
black eyes.
plus it feels better. Yeah.
That's what she said.
So, wait.
All right, it's
Yeah!
time for
Let's move
everybody's
on. Yeah.
everybody's favorite segment of the show. That is bro science meals, or pet peeves. We got some bro science. Who wants to take it away? Which
I'll start with
you
it.
want
All
it,
right, let's
yeah.
start with this. So I've had some people ask me all the time, and I even enough to question it myself. I did some research, and the question is cow milk, bad for you?
Thank you for clarifying.
It's cow
Yeah.
milk.
I
Cow
thought we were
milk,
talking
not
about.
bull
I
milk.
thought we were talking about.
Human milk.
I thought we were talking about almond milk.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, yeah, because
Macadamia nut
Yeah,
milk.
let's find the teats on
oat
the
milk,
almond.
Oat milk.
Oatly.
Anyway, so cow milk, is it bad for you? And the answer is like always yes and no.
Pretty much. Maybe.
Maybe.
Slash
Could it
tell
not
me.
be? Yeah, don't worry about that little guy.
Tell
Gotta
me.
love our studio here.
It's an active environment.
It's an active
It was the milkman.
Yeah,
It was
the
the
milkman
milkman.
came
All right.
pissed. Yeah.
So, please, we got a couple minutes. Can you go deeper? Is
So
is
do
milk
you-
bad for me?
Do you have?
Should I
do you
stop
have-
drinking milk?
Do you have an allergy to the lactose?
Right.
Do you see me
Yes.
drinking milk?
Okay, then
Does
it's
your-
bad for you.
Yeah. well, does
Okay.
it make your stomach hurt?
Yeah. Do you have
Maybe
an
don't-
adverse reaction every time
Yeah.
you drink it? Then yes, it's bad for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Or-
All
or
right. Do you feel
inherently bad.
inflamed whenever you introduce dairy? When you?
Does your nose run?
Yeah,
Do your
yes.
eyes get watery? Like,
Because to be honest, milk is mucus. I mean, that's just
Right.
really what it is. I mean, it doesn't sound pretty when you say that, but that's what it is. So it can cause an adverse reaction. So yes, but if not,
right.
no.
And it falls into that camp of everything with these food sensitivity stuff, which is like they are true for
Sure.
some people,
Yeah.
but you can't then categorize every food as good or bad.
And I love people say
And-
lactose intolerance. What is
Yes.
that? Everybody can have some sort of intolerance. It depends on
Well,
the severity.
So I will say the lactose thing can be a little legit, where like some folks have such a messed up
The severity. Yeah.
Yeah, and they also the microvilli have lacteal groups on them in your small intestine, and if they have like Crohn's or something else, they may not make any lactase. So if they don't have any lactase, they might just put lactate milk. They could have milk if they had some lactase. So,
yeah.
and you could test that. And if you're like, hey, I'm okay as long as the sugars are digested,
Then you
it's
found
fine.
your problem.
Yeah, I mean, and then, that falls into other milk products like whey protein and stuff like that too. Some people are totally fine with whey protein. Some people, it just wrecks them. They feel horrible. So, but that's pretty much the gauge. It doesn't mean the one's healthy or not healthy because they're all still food. It's still a whole food product. It doesn't have to be raw for it to be good for you. Doesn't mean it's not more tasty, because if you've had raw milk, it actually tastes way better.
I really
enjoy
just
it.
despise the people that have just a hard stance on this stuff across the board.
Yeah.
And they're trying to create controversy.
And it's hard. I
get
mean,
it,
the
but-
milk thing is such a big one too, because then you go because then there'll be people say, well, pasteurized milk is the worst, but raw milk is fine. And I was like, listeria and brucellosis is pretty horrible too. So it's like,
there's a reason why they pass.
if you can for 100%,
I like type.
But you're right, they do taste great.
Typhoid,
It does taste great.
It does taste better,
Yeah.
and it actually is probably easier for a lot of folks to digest because it does have the enzymes in it already. But is it worth the risk? You have to make all these personal
There you
choices,
go.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like insane. I mean, that's even down to
So what you're saying is that people,
milk is food.
People should
We've lived off milk forever.
should use their own volition to make their
No,
No,
I don't
you
expect people to
listen.
make decisions
Oh,
based
no,
on their
no,
own.
Oh, my bad.
You have to listen to somebody who you
Sorry.
perceive as an expert in
My
that
bad,
person
my bad.
only.
Guru,
Oh, right. Otherwise, I just ruined the entire podcast.
Yes.
Gurus only.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Good.
if they don't have guru or expert next to their name,
Right.
don't listen to it.
Literally.
This is where Ashley puts guru
Yeah.
on.
Think.
Thanks, Ashley.
Think for yourself. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
No, yeah. What do you think? Hey, did you drink milk as a kid?
yeah.
Did you get big and
Did a
strong
lot.
that way?
Did a lot. I think I probably got some of that bovine growth hormone too. Yeah. So when I was growing
Whoa.
up, yeah. What?
Whoa.
Hey. Oh
Whoa.
no. Okay.
That's
sorry.
how old you are?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were putting that in there.
Yep, they were putting that in there. Hey, look, yes, when I was growing up,
Free antibiotics,
my
too.
mom, every week, yeah, that's why I'm so healthy today.
Pay for that shit.
Every
pay for antibiotics now.
week, every week, my mom would buy 4 gallons of milk, 2 for me, 2 for my little brother. Usually, I'd be done by like Saturday, and my mom go to the grocery store, and I did that just for decades. So here I am. I'm pretty good. I feed my children. Whatever.
Feed.
Yeah, they drink whole milk because it does the body good. So,
And then the sad thing is, like, if you're
but that's us. I guess that's
no,
us.
the sad thing is if you're like me, I'm jealous of these guys because milk just destroys me.
Yeah.
Makes me feel horrible. I've drank lots of milk and tried to figure it out.
So what you should do is go
And-
tell everybody how bad
Yeah,
it is.
exactly. That was my point.
And I'm
So
going
my
to tell
point
everybody
is-
how good
yeah.
it is.
So
And
instead
then-
of saying,
yeah.
hey, it just doesn't work for me, and I have these symptoms, I should go around and tell everyone milk is horrible.
Because
Horrible. This is why. And give a bullet point thing.
because
Sure.
you have
And I could make up a bunch of bullet points that are true for people like me,
That's right.
yes.
but not everyone. So that's the hard part, and you see that all too
I
much.
think everybody should go research the FODMAP and start there. You know, Christ, like figure this stuff
There's a
out.
bunch of things to choose from. It's pretty
right.
crazy.
Well, I don't know what a FODMAP is, but I do know it's time for us to tell people where they can find it. Nope. Yeah. So they didn't teach us that. at
Do
PT.
some research.
They didn't teach us.
Come on, doctor. Dr. Oligosaccharide.
They didn't teach us that at PT school. Okay.
Oh.
All right.
You know your sugars, man.
Okay. You know what?
Fermentables.
There's plenty of sugar in my protein shake, and I need a refill. So let's wrap this thing up. Justin, where can people find you on the interwebs?
We got aspirecharleston.com, and then email me at aspirecharleston@gmail.com.
All
And he
right.
responds right away.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
the
It's
minute
still-
you do it,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
waiting for
He's
it.
waiting for
We
it.
talked on the previous episode. I have a shadow practice. It's hard. The harder you are to find, the more likely you are to do the best work without caring what people are doing around you.
Like Steven Seagal.
And since
Donnie,
shut down.
Donnie, where's
Hard
your
to kill.
Since then, I've taken the sign off my building. I've taken all my Instagram stuff down.
I also do expert marketing advice.
You just-
So if you email me, I will teach you how to find. No one can find you.
No one can find you.
No one can find you. And then if you can hang in there for about 15 years, you'll have more business than you can ever do.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
That's it.
just have a long-term plan.
Yeah. Actually, I've changed mine to you have to knock 3 times and then say the
yeah.
chowder. I'm not telling you which one it is, the red or the white. You have to figure that out.
Pumpkin patch.
Instagram.com/Donnie Kiernan. Facebook.com/Strength and Performance Institute, which is my facility right here in Clearwater, Florida. Hey,
That's all I got.
I'm Dr. Hayes Estes. These last two episodes have been so far my favorite. You can find me at my business, Premier Physical Therapy. We're on Facebook.com/PT and Sports Therapy. We're on Instagram at Run. I'll make it quick. Run Tampa Bay. Let's get the fuck out of here. All right.
Oh, there it is. Finally, he waited to the last minute. I'll tell Ashley, and she'll have to run through it all. There you go.
I had that
All right, guys.
plan.
We're out.
See ya.
Awesome.
I'm not going to tell her where you cussed.
I know.
Well, that's
I
the
held
point.
it.
There's
the
one in
first
there.
minute.
I held it on purpose.
Do nothing for a long time.
I will
just hope
teach you
people come in.
how the subtle art of don't find me
Don't
makes
find
everyone want you. It's like dating.
That's exactly it.
Don't be too available.
Yeah, you might
You gotta play hard to
You gotta
get.
play hard to
Yeah,
get.
you gotta play hard.
Man, I should have brought you the one. Have you seen these really cool little time bird timers?
My character.
My character. Why so serious?
Why so serious? Where's the pencil at? It's always wrong.
Okay, fine. I'll do the intro.
I'll do it.
No, I'm gonna do it. No, I'm gonna do
No.
it. You don't want to do it. I'm doing it. I'm
doing
gonna do
it.
it. I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Look. Ready?
Do it.
No.